Are you doing keto, but still not losing weight? Are you eating foods labeled healthy, tracking carbs, skipping sugar, and yet your belly fat won't budge, your energy crashes in the afternoon, and your cravings keep coming back? If that sounds familiar, you are not failing keto. You may simply be doing keto in a way that keeps insulin elevated. And this is where many people get confused. Most people think keto is only about lowering carbohydrates, but the real metabolic target is not carbs alone, it is insulin. Because insulin is the hormone that tells your body whether to store fuel or burn fuel. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When insulin stays elevated, even mildly elevated, your body receives a message: do not release stored fat. That means you can eat low-carb foods, expensive health snacks, and trendy keto products, and still stay stuck. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of body fat like money in a savings account. You may have plenty stored, but insulin is the lock on the vault door. If insulin remains high, your body cannot easily withdraw that stored energy, so you feel hungry, tired, and frustrated even while carrying extra fuel. What the research shows is that insulin resistance and chronically elevated insulin are strongly linked to weight gain, fatty liver, inflammation, and accelerated aging. Lowering insulin sensitivity is one of the most powerful ways to improve metabolic health. Today, I'm going to walk you through 8 foods many keto followers believe are harmless but are secretly keeping insulin higher than expected. Some of these foods are marketed as healthy, some are technically low carb, some are in nearly every keto pantry, and once you understand why they matter, everything changes. You'll learn how to identify hidden insulin triggers, how to structure meals for fat burning, and how to use keto the way it was meant to work. Let's begin with one of the most common keto traps: nuts and nut butters. Now, nuts can absolutely be part of a healthy metabolic plan. They contain minerals, fiber, healthy fats, and can be convenient. The problem is not that nuts are evil. The problem is that many people use them like a free food, and they are not free. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Nuts are extremely energy dense. A small handful can contain hundreds of calories, and most people do not stop at one handful. Nut butters are even easier to overeat because they bypass chewing signals and portion awareness. 2 tablespoons becomes 4. 4 becomes 6. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to lower the water level in a bathtub while the faucet is still dripping. Even a slow drip matters over time. That's how calorie-dense snack foods work. Small excesses repeated daily can stall progress. Now let's talk insulin. Some nuts are lower carb than others, but cashews, pistachios, and flavored nuts can carry a larger glucose load than people realize. Sweetened nut butters often contain honey, cane sugar, maltodextrin, or hidden starches. Even natural versions can trigger overeating because fat plus salt plus texture creates a powerful reward loop. What the research shows is that ultra-palatable foods can override satiety cues and increase passive calorie intake. That matters because excess energy intake can worsen insulin resistance over time. There is also another issue: frequency. Many keto followers snack on nuts between meals, after meals, and while cooking dinner. That means insulin may keep getting nudged upward throughout the day. So what should you do instead? First, treat nuts as a condiment, not a staple. Use one measured serving, not handfuls from the bag. Second, choose lower carb options like macadamias, pecans, walnuts, or almonds in moderate portions. Third, avoid glazed, flavored, roasted in seed oils, or sweetened versions. Fourth, if fat loss is stalled, remove nuts for 14 days and observe hunger, energy, and waistline changes. Fifth, replace snack habits with real meals built around protein, non-starchy vegetables, and healthy fats. For example, eggs and avocado, salmon and greens, Greek yogurt if tolerated, chicken salad with olive oil. These meals create stronger satiety signals than grazing on nut butter with a spoon. And here is the key lesson: keto snacks can keep you snack dependent. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day for people who want real metabolic results, not marketing hype. Now let's talk about one of the most misunderstood categories in the keto world: keto sweeteners and sugar-free treats. These products are everywhere: keto ice cream, sugar-free cookies, low-carb chocolate, protein brownies, syrups, flavored creamers, and zero-sugar desserts. They promise indulgence without consequences, but for many people, they quietly keep insulin high, cravings active, and progress stalled. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism responds not only to calories, but also to signals: sweet taste, reward pathways, learned associations, appetite hormones, and cephalic phase responses can all influence how your body prepares for food. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. If your doorbell rings every day at noon, eventually you walk toward the door before checking who's there. Your body does something similar with repeated sweet tastes. It may begin preparing for incoming energy even before digestion fully starts. Some non-nutritive sweeteners appear to have minimal glucose impact in many people, but responses vary widely. Certain individuals experience higher hunger, more cravings, or glucose changes after sweetened products. Some research suggests sweeteners may influence appetite regulation and gut microbiota in susceptible people. That means the question is not just, does it have sugar? The better question is, what does it do to my body? For one person, a sugar-free product may be neutral. For another, it may trigger binge eating later that night. For another, it may maintain psychological dependence on sweetness, making whole foods feel boring. And this is where many keto plans fail. People remove sugar, but keep the sweet habit alive. So every day becomes sweet coffee, sweet snack bar, sweet yogurt, sweet dessert, sweet electrolyte drink. The tongue stays in dessert mode, even if carbs are lower. What should you do instead? First, run a 14-day sweetener reset. Remove all sweet tatsies, even keto sweeteners. This helps recalibrate taste buds and reduce reward-driven eating. Second, prioritize naturally satisfying foods, eggs, meat, fish, olives, avocado, cheese, if tolerated, vegetables, broth. Third, if using sweeteners, reserve them for occasional strategic use, not multiple times daily. Fourth, monitor your own biomarkers, cravings, hunger, fasting glucose, waistline, and energy. Your body's feedback matters more than the label. Fifth, remember that freedom is not finding a better fake dessert. Freedom is no longer needing dessert to feel normal. Once many people break constant sweetness, they notice something surprising. Berries taste sweeter, nuts taste richer, coffee tastes smoother, real food becomes enough. That is metabolic healing. Let's talk about a food category that surprises many people: too much dairy. Now, dairy is not automatically bad. Some people tolerate it well. It can provide protein, calcium, and convenience. But when fat loss stalls on keto, dairy is one of the first places I investigate, because many keto followers are not eating dairy as a side food. They are building their entire day around it: cheese snacks, heavy cream and coffee, yogurt bowls, keto cheesecakes, butter-loaded drinks, sour cream toppings, cream sauces at dinner. And then they wonder why progress stopped. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Dairy contains proteins, especially whey, that can stimulate insulin secretion in some people. This means a food can be relatively low in carbohydrate and still create a meaningful insulin response. That surprises people who only track net carbs. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you lock the front door but leave the side entrance open. Many people lower carbs beautifully, but dairy proteins keep providing another route for insulin stimulation. What the research shows is that dairy proteins, particularly whey, can be insulinogenic compared with their glucose impact. In simple terms, glucose may stay stable while insulin still rises. Now add another factor: palatability. Cheese is easy to overeat. Cream makes coffee dessert-like. Sour cream improves everything. Keto desserts built with cream cheese and sweeteners are calorie-dense and effortless to consume. So you may have two issues at once: more insulin signaling than expected, more energy intake than realized, and for some people, dairy also worsens bloating, congestion, acne, or cravings, which indirectly affects consistency. So what should you do? First, audit your dairy frequency. Ask yourself honestly, is dairy an ingredient or a daily dependency? Second, if weight loss is stalled, try a 21-day dairy reset. Remove cheese, cream, milk, sweetened yogurts, frequent whey shakes, then monitor morning hunger, waist size, energy cravings, scale trend. Third, if reintroducing dairy, choose cleaner forms and moderate portions. Plain Greek yogurt if tolerated, cottage cheese, small servings of aged cheese butter used intentionally, not endlessly. Fourth, stop pouring heavy cream into coffee multiple times a day. Liquid calories are easy to underestimate. Use black coffee, cinnamon, or gradually reduce cream volume. Fifth, center meals on protein first. Eggs, chicken, beef, fish, turkey. Use dairy as an accent, not the foundation. Now let's talk about one of the biggest reasons modern keto stops working: keto bars, shakes, and packaged convenience foods. These products are marketed as the perfect solution. Busy morning? Grab a keto bar. Need lunch? Drink a keto shake. Craving dessert? Eat a low-carb cookie. Want energy? Try a keto brownie bite. Convenient? Yes. But metabolically effective? Often number. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Many packaged keto foods are technically low in net carbs, but they are still highly processed combinations of fats, fibers, sweeteners, gums, flavor enhancers, seed oils, isolates, and engineered textures designed to make you keep eating. That matters because your body doesn't only respond to macros. It also responds to food structure, satiety signals, chewing, digestion speed, and reward stimulation. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Compare eating a grilled chicken salad to eating a keto bar. One requires chewing, digestion, stomach expansion, and real nutrient signaling. The other can disappear in 90 seconds. Both may have similar label numbers, but they do not create the same biological response. What the research shows is that ultra-processed foods are associated with higher calorie intake and weight gain compared with minimally processed foods, even when nutrients are matched in controlled settings. That means a keto bar can fit your macros and still work against your metabolism. Now add hidden ingredients: soluble corn fiber, tapioca, fiber maltitol, IMO syrup, modified starches, artificial flavors. Some of these ingredients may raise glucose in certain people, more than labels suggest. Others increase GI distress, bloating, or cravings. Then comes the behavioral trap. You start relying on products instead of meals. And when real food leaves the system, satiety often leaves with it. So what should you do instead? First, build your day around foods with one ingredient: eggs, fish, chicken, beef, Greek yogurt. If tolerated, leafy greens, olives, avocado. Second, reserve packaged keto foods for emergency use, not daily staples. Think travel days, long drives, or rare convenience moments. Third, test your response. Eat a keto bar one day. Measure hunger 2 hours later. Eat steak and vegetables another day. Measure hunger again. Your appetite will often reveal the truth faster than marketing. Fourth, if you must use shakes, make them functional. Protein powder without junk additives, unsweetened almond milk, chia seeds, cinnamon, ice. Keep it simple. Fifth, read ingredient lists, not front labels. The front sells, the back tells the truth. And here is the key lesson. If a product needs a long explanation to prove it is healthy, it usually isn't the foundation of a healing diet. Now let's cover one of the most common hidden insulin triggers in the keto community: constant grazing and bulletproof-style drinks between meals. This is where many people say, "I only eat keto foods, I never cheat, I stay under carbs," but they are still consuming something every 2 to 3 hours. Coffee with butter, coffee with cream, MCT drink, handful of nuts, cheese slices, keto snack bites, another coffee, another spoon of nut butter, and the body never gets a real break. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Fat burning does not happen at maximum efficiency when the body constantly receives incoming fuel. Even if carbs are low, frequent feeding can keep digestive hormones active, reduce the need to access stored body fat, and in some people repeatedly stimulate insulin. Remember this principle: stored fat is backup fuel. The body uses incoming fuel first. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you own a house with firewood stacked outside, but every hour someone delivers fresh wood to the front door. You keep burning the delivered wood. You never touch the stored pile. That is what happens when people sip calories all day, especially with keto coffees. Now, bulletproof-style drinks may suppress hunger temporarily, but for many people they become liquid meals added on top of meals. That means more total energy intake without improved satiety. What the research shows is that meal timing and reducing eating frequency can improve insulin dynamics in many individuals, especially when paired with whole food nutrition and weight loss. So what should you do? First, create eating windows. Try 2 to 3 real meals per day with no caloric snacking between them. Water, black coffee, unsweetened tea, electrolytes are fine for many people. Second, stop drinking fats just because keto culture told you to. If your body already carries stored energy, you do not need to add butter to coffee to teach it to burn fat. Your body already knows how if insulin falls low enough. Third, make breakfast optional, not mandatory. If you are genuinely hungry, eat. If not, delay until hunger appears naturally. Fourth, prioritize protein at meals. Protein plus fiber-rich vegetables often creates stronger satiety than liquid fat drinks. Fifth, if cravings hit between meals, ask, "Am I hungry or just stimulated?" Stress, boredom, and habit often mimic hunger. Now let's talk about a topic that creates a lot of confusion: too much protein in the wrong form and at the wrong time. Some people hear that protein can raise insulin, and then they become afraid of protein. That is a mistake. Others hear that protein is essential, and then eat massive amounts through shakes, bars, snacks, and oversized meals all day long. That can also become a mistake. The truth is more nuanced. Protein is one of the most important nutrients for healthy aging. It supports muscle mass, immune function, hormones, bones, and metabolic rate. Especially as we age, adequate protein becomes protective. But like everything in metabolism, context matters. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Protein does stimulate insulin to some degree. That is normal and not automatically harmful. In fact, insulin helps shuttle amino acids into muscle tissue. The issue is not protein itself, the issue is excess intake, constant intake, and low-quality processed forms. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of protein like bricks delivered to a construction site. If you're building muscle, repairing tissue, and active, the bricks are useful. But if trucks keep delivering bricks all day long after the project is full, they begin piling up. Your body can convert some excess amino acids into glucose through gluconeogenesis based on demand, especially in insulin-resistant states. That does not mean protein turns into sugar instantly. It means excess beyond need may reduce ketosis or slow fat loss for some individuals. What the research shows is that higher protein intake generally supports satiety and body composition, but optimal amounts vary by age, activity, lean mass, and metabolic health. So what should you do? First, stop fearing protein. Most people on keto do better with adequate, not low protein. Second, prioritize whole food sources. Eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, lean beef, Greek yogurt, if tolerated, cottage cheese. Third, reduce processed protein products, bars, candle-like shakes, flavored powders with fillers. Fourth, distribute protein into meals instead of sipping it all day. For many people, 2 or 3 protein-centered meals work better than endless snacks. Fifth, use a practical target. Aim roughly for enough protein to preserve muscle and control hunger, not bodybuilder surplus levels, unless training requires it. Sixth, if ketosis or weight loss has stalled, examine giant evening protein meals or multiple daily shakes. Sometimes timing matters as much as amount, and here is the key lesson. Protein is medicine when dosed correctly. Protein becomes noise when consumed constantly. Now let's talk about one of the most overlooked keto saboteurs, seed oil-heavy, healthy keto foods and restaurant meals. Many people think, I ordered a salad, I got grilled chicken, I skipped the fries, I chose low carb, and yet they feel inflamed, hungrier later, bloated the next morning, and their weight jumps for 2 days. Why? Because keto is not only about carbs, it is also about inflammation, liver stress, appetite control, and insulin sensitivity. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Many restaurant meals and packaged healthy keto foods are cooked in refined industrial oils such as soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola blends, or mystery fryer oils used repeatedly at high heat. These oils are calorie-dense, easy to overconsume, and often paired with hyper-palatable meals that drive passive overeating. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to tune a piano in a noisy room. You can still do it, but it becomes much harder. That's what happens when you're trying to improve insulin sensitivity while constantly eating inflammatory, highly processed meals. The body receives mixed signals. Now, to be precise, not every seed oil meal instantly damages metabolism. Biology is more complex than internet fear claims. The bigger issue is pattern. Frequent restaurant eating, highly processed foods, repeated overheated oils, excess calories, low satiety, meals, poor ingredient quality. That pattern can worsen weight regulation and metabolic health over time. What the research shows is that diets high in ultra-processed foods and excess refined fats are associated with poorer cardiometabolic outcomes, especially when replacing whole food patterns. So what should you do? First, cook at home more often. This single habit gives you control over ingredients, portions, and oils. Second, choose stable fats in reasonable amounts, olive oil, avocado oil, butter, or GI, if tolerated. Third, when eating out, ask for dressing on the side. Choose grilled proteins. Request butter or olive oil if available. Skip sugary sauces. Prioritize vegetables. Fourth, do not confuse salad with healthy. A salad drenched in sweet dressing and refined oil can be more disruptive than steak and broccoli. Fifth, notice how you feel the next day. Energy, puffiness, hunger, sleep, cravings. Your body often reports quality before the scale does. And here is the key lesson. The keto label on a menu means very little. Let's finish with the most important category of all, the hidden lifestyle foods and habits that keep insulin high even when your keto menu looks perfect. Because sometimes the food is not the main problem. You can eat eggs, salmon, avocado, vegetables, and stay low carb, yet still struggle with stubborn fat, high fasting glucose, poor sleep, and cravings. Why? Because insulin is influenced by more than food: stress hormones, sleep quality, circadian rhythm, late night eating, sedentary living, alcohol, chronic inflammation. These can all quietly block progress. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When stress rises, cortisol rises. Cortisol helps mobilize energy by increasing glucose availability, helpful in emergencies. But when stress becomes chronic, emails, money pressure, emotional strain, poor recovery, the body can keep pushing glucose into circulation, then insulin rises to manage it. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine pressing the gas pedal and brake pedal at the same time. You are eating keto to lower insulin, while chronic stress keeps pushing glucose output upward. The engine strains, progress slows, now add poor sleep. Even short-term sleep restriction has been shown to reduce insulin sensitivity and increase hunger signals in many studies. One bad night can change cravings the next day. Then late-night eating adds another layer. The body often handles glucose and insulin better earlier in the day than late at night. Eating heavy meals close to bedtime may worsen overnight glucose control for some people. So what should you do? First, protect sleep like medicine. Aim for consistent sleep and wake times. Dark room, cool room, screens lower at night. Second, finish dinner earlier when possible. Try 3 hours before bed. Third, walk daily. Even a 10-minute walk after meals can support glucose control. Fourth, use stress-lowering tools that actually work. Breathing drills, sunlight exposure, prayer or meditation resistance training, journaling time outdoors. Fifth, reduce alcohol if fat loss is stalled. The liver prioritizes alcohol metabolism before other fuel tasks. Sixth, track more than weight. Morning waistline, energy, mood, sleep quality, fasting glucose, if available. And here is the final lesson. A perfect keto menu cannot outwork a chaotic physiology. Metabolism responds to the whole life. Food is powerful, but recovery is powerful too. Let's bring everything together, because if you understand just one idea from this entire video, let it be this. Keto does not fail because people are eating carbs. Keto fails because insulin never fully gets the signal to come down, and that happens in subtle ways, not just sugar, but healthy foods, habits, and patterns that keep the body in a mild, constant storage state instead of a deep fat-burning state. We covered 8 hidden insulin drivers, nuts and nut butters that are easy to overeat and silently increase energy intake, keto sweeteners and desserts that keep the brain locked in sweet expectation mode, too much dairy that can be more insulinogenic than expected, keto bars, shakes, and packaged foods that override satiety signals, constant grazing and bulletproof-style drinks that prevent metabolic breaks, excess or poorly timed protein that blunts ketosis when overused, restaurant and seed oil-heavy meals that drive inflammation and appetite dysregulation, and finally, the lifestyle factors: stress, sleep, timing, and recovery that silently control insulin sensitivity. Now step back and see the pattern. This is not about perfection. It is about signal clarity. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism is always listening. Every bite, every snack, every drink, every night of sleep, every stress spike, all of it adds up to one message: burn fat or store fuel. Let me leave you with a simple framework. If fat loss has stalled on keto, don't immediately cut more carbs. Instead, ask, am I over-snacking? Am I relying on keto-processed foods? Am I constantly eating sweet flavors? Am I overdoing dairy or protein? Am I recovering poorly from stress and sleep loss? Fix those first, and often, insulin sensitivity begins to improve naturally, because the goal is not just weight loss. The goal is metabolic flexibility, the ability to burn fat when fasting and use fuel efficiently when eating. That is true health. That is real keto. Now here is your challenge. For the next 7 to 14 days, choose just one change from this video. Remove nuts, or eliminate sweeteners, or stop snacking, or clean up dairy, or protect your sleep. Just one. And track what happens to your hunger, energy, and waistline. Your body will give you feedback faster than any diet plan ever will. If this added value, like the video and subscribe to join others who are rebuilding their health naturally without confusion, extremes, or misinformation. And remember, when insulin is understood, fat loss stops being a struggle and starts becoming a system.